Hello and welcome back to Las Vegas Law Talk. I have been away for a while, well, because of all the things, of course, but the election is coming, so I have to come back. I had to come back. There's so much going on, of course, it's been since March since I was on last, and of course, with everything that has gone on over the last several months, I had to take some time away from the studio so that I could focus on my business, on myself as a human being, of course, and then as well as the two foundations that I sit on the boards of. So, of course, the Clark County Law Foundation, I have been a member of their board for quite a while now, and then just before the pandemic hit, yay 2020, I was appointed to be co-vice president of the board of the Southern Nevada Association of Women Attorneys. So I have spent the last 7 months trying to make sure that both myself, my business, and those two organizations that I volunteer for are doing okay. And now here we are, however many months later, and we're kind of doing okay. So, so I wanted to try to get back. Things have been really crazy. They still are, of course, for everybody, but it's really important to me, it's really important to especially the Southern Nevada Association of Women Attorneys that we are making sure that the public is educated about who we're voting for this year. There are so many people on the ballot, not just our president, locally, there are so many people on the ballot. So today we have a co-host, yay! And Jasmine Lilly Spells is with us. Welcome, Jasmine.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. It's such an honor to be on the show and talk about all things law related.
I'm so excited. I'm so excited to have Jasmine here. Jasmine and I got to know each other through the Southern Nevada Association of Women Attorneys. I'm so excited for her to be running her campaign, to be talking to her later about that. And she's going to join us for the first segment where we, of course, will update you on all things Clark County Law Foundation and now all things SNALA related. So, the Law Foundation, we really had to pivot. Of course, we were gearing up to go into the summer course with our trial by peers, peer counselors, so that we could educate them to become peer counselors and try cases. First thing we had to do before that, we switched everything virtual. All of our court cases ended up being virtual. That became successful. We went on Zoom and did that. Then we had our summer course. We turned that virtual. We graduated over 50 students. Over 50 students from our virtual class, which is really exciting. So, and then they have now been doing more CLEs and things like that to make sure that they are continued to be educated, so that as we get more cases in and the school year has opened up, we'll go ahead and continue taking those cases. We also have started doing more of the restorative justice circles. So we're inviting students, if you have issues with your children, even in your own families, students, teachers who are seeing that there are problems, they can refer kids into our program, into the Trial by Peers program, and we can have a restorative justice circle where we'll invite them in, their families in, virtually now. We'll invite everybody in and we can sit down and come to an agreement about how to resolve it. So we're really trying to work with kids who are maybe having some difficulties, getting into some trouble even still, and trying to help them so that they can really get learn some consequences, get some education, and come to a resolution about what the problem is. So we're really excited about all of those things that are going on. The Clark County Law Foundation, of course, is still doing the attorney memorial. Normally we would do that in person, but this year, of course, we can't do that. So what we're doing, or Litigation Services is helping us do, is putting together a really wonderful video that's going to honor all of, honor the ones that have agreed to participate, honor the attorneys that passed in the last fiscal year, so 2019, 2020, July to July. So, so that will be coming out here, I think, in the next couple of weeks. So we're excited about that. That'll be on our Facebook, on the Clark County Law Foundation's Facebook page, and of course the website and all that. So that'll be great. The next thing that we have coming up in the future is Liberty Bell Awards. Every year, since 1983, in fact, every year the Let Freedom Ring Committee has been giving individuals in the community who uphold the rule of law, contribute to good government within the community, and stimulate a sense of civic responsibility and encourage respect for the law and the courts, the Liberty Bell Award. They've been doing that since 1983. It's become a very prestigious award in our legal community. And so this year, again, we're going virtual, but we're still doing it because it's really important to us to continue to honor people in our community that are doing great things. So this year, we have a couple of nominees who have been selected. We can't announce it just yet. They have to accept. But so that'll come out on our Facebook page, and there'll be a press release that'll come out that'll notify you guys of the awardees this year. We're really excited about who we have selected. So keep in tune for that. And then, as we did last year, very excited, the Let Freedom Ring art contest. So last year was the first year that we expanded our art contest. Normally we would do it with just one school. It would be Joe Mackey Elementary School. We would go and have a judge go to the school and read a book about the Liberty Bell, and then the kids would do a poster contest about the Liberty Bell. Well, last year we were able to expand the art contest to the entire school district, to every student in the school district, and we based our theme on the Law Day theme last year. And so this year, again, we're doing it a little different. We're doing it a little later in the year, but we're still doing it. So I'm so excited. We finally set that. So all of that, the Liberty Bell Award ceremony and the Let Freedom Ring art contest award ceremony will be on November 19th, 2020 at 6 p.m. It'll be virtual. We invite the public to attend. And if you have kids, if you know teachers who would love to participate in an art contest, I know, Jasmine, you have 4 of them, right?
Yes.
So you have 4 kids. This year's theme is women's suffrage. So in 2019-2020 is celebrating the 100th anniversary of the 19th Amendment, which gave women the right to vote. So that's our theme this year. So if you have any children or any teachers who might be interested in having their students submit projects, art projects, posters, videos, poems, essays, any of those kinds of things to us, that would be great. The entry deadline is November 2nd, 2020. There's more information, of course, on our Facebook page about with the release form and the official rules and all those kinds of things. And then also, what we're gonna do, I'm very excited, we actually have a video that's coming up. We were lucky enough to get historical figures, Alice Paul, Elizabeth Cady Stanton, and Sojourner Truth, to read a book called Elizabeth Started All the Trouble, which is written by Doreen Rappaport and illustrated by Matt Faulkner. They did a video for us. That's going to go up on our Facebook page, so you can also learn more about essentially how the 19th Amendment came about. So I'm very excited. We've been doing a lot of fun stuff with that. Again, the entry deadline is November 2nd, and then the award ceremony is on the 19th of November. So we would love for anyone to participate. That's K through 12 can participate in that. And if any grown-up artists would love to participate, we would love to have you guys donate a piece on women's suffrage to the foundation. We will use those for raffle prizes or other things in the future. So, and there also will be some raffle prizes that we'll be giving out at the event. So we're really excited. So the Law Foundation is continuing to move forward. We are continuing to be, to do, what we want to do, which is really exciting. So I'm really excited about that. Now on to SNAWA. Jasmine, you're a member of SNAWA, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
And how do you like SNAWA? Tell us why you love SNAWA.
I love SNAWA because I think that it's a place where women can feel at home. Oftentimes, although we do have a lot of women in the legal field, it's still a field that's dominated by men. And sometimes it's very difficult to be taken seriously, especially for those of us who look more youthful or who don't like to wear a lot of makeup and do all the things to try to make yourself look older. You can get people talking down to you or just being disrespectful or thinking that you don't know what you're talking about, you're not intelligent, you're not a skillful attorney. And so for whatever reason, there's just not this automatic respect and automatic, what you're talking about, you're not treated kind of on the same playing field. And those are some of the issues and the concerns that women just deal with, specifically in the legal field. And so having that communal organization and having men being a part of that who support the mission and support women being in the field and support equal treatment, I think makes it a little bit easier and allows us to find some common ground and just some camaraderie, especially right now when everyone is so lonely and you need kind of that extra friendship base to get through COVID. All things COVID.
All things COVID, that's right. No, and that really is, what SNAWA as an organization is really trying to do, is bring together, even still, and that's one of the great things about the Southern Nevada Association of Women Attorneys. For when we accept men, of course, we have male members as well. It's a mutual effort, of course, to advance women in the legal field. It's not just women, we have to have men involved as well, and we do, and it's great. And in the before times, as I've been known to say recently, we were able to gather together, and it was so always nice to see you at lunches, Jasmine, and we could chat
Yes.
and hug and talk about what's kind of been going on in our lives, and what opposing counsel we've had to deal with recently, or whatever, and that kind of thing. But we're still trying to do that. We're still doing that virtually, as we were before. So instead of, we can't maybe get together in person, but we have had virtual events. We did a virtual Pictionary. I don't know if you were there, Jasmine, for that one. It was so much fun. We actually, and again, the Southern Nevada Association of Women Attorneys, much like the Law Foundation and its missions for education, we want to make sure that the public is being educated. So in October, the Southern Nevada Association of Women Attorneys has been doing candidate forums for the 33, I think, contested district court and justice court, Supreme Court, appellate court departments in Nevada. So we have been doing this. We already did 2 of them. We did one on the 1st. We did one on the 8th. The videos are going up. The first one is up. The second one will be up today. So in conjunction with our Nevada judges, they've been really helping us. Thank you so much to Brittany and Alexander Falcone over there at our Nevada judges for helping us out with that. They've been wonderful. And so we'll have more coming up. We've got one on the 15th, one on the 22nd, and then one on the 29th right before the election. So we're getting all of these departments in right before the election for you guys. So that way you can look at the videos and learn about who it is that you're voting for, because it's just so important to know. Some of these departments have incumbents, some of them have no incumbents, and it's just 2 new people who are running. So it's really important for the public to go out and make sure that they're just looking at these videos. So those videos are going to be up on our Nevada Judges website. They're up on their Facebook. They're also up on SNAWA's Facebook. So they're kind of everywhere for you guys to take a look at those, and that kind of thing. We'll make sure that they're getting up. One of our candidates that'll be there next week is our Jasmine Lilly Spells there. But before
super excited for that.
Me too. But before we get to that, one other thing for SNAWA, also I want to make sure everyone knows about. There is the Miriam Shearing Gala it's the 8th annual Justice Miriam Shearing Gala. That will be on the 17th of November. So that's going to be a big week for me. The 17th and 19th big events. But on the 17th of November is the Miriam Shearing Gala. This year we are honoring Judge Johnny B. Rawlinson. So she is a judge in the Ninth Circuit. She came out of Nevada. She was she worked in the Nevada courts for a long time, and then she was appointed to be a judge in the Ninth Circuit. So we're really, really excited to be honoring her this year. And that event is designed to raise scholarships for the Southern Nevada Association of Women Attorneys Scholarship Fund. And so that fund gives scholarships to women attorneys or future women attorneys at the William S. Boyd School of Law. So that's how that foundation supports women in the legal field. So we've got so much going on. I'm so excited that everything is continuing to move forward despite all of the COVID things. I'm really excited to be back in the studio. I love the green behind me, even though it doesn't look like green to you, thankfully. And I'm excited to see, kind of what goes forward. And I'm really excited that our next segments will be to talk more with Jasmine Lilly Spells. We'll go ahead and take a break here in just a minute. And John on the post edit will put up our video about the Law Foundation and Trial by Peers to make sure you guys remember what that's about. Please, please, please submit your art projects by November 2nd for that one. We'll talk soon.
We could talk a little bit about the Trial by Peers program. It's been about 22 years with the Clark County Law Foundation, and the goal is to provide community service and educational opportunities to our youth. When I was teaching a summer class, preparing for the examination, and one of the parents came up to me and said it was like listening to a civics class, and that's exactly what it's about. It's about teaching good citizenship, and the whole Trial by Peers is exactly what it means. It's a trial by the peers. It's where the youth are defended by their peers, they are prosecuted by their peers, and they are judged by their peers. It's a juvenile diversion program. Youth that get citations come to the program instead of going to the court, to the juvenile court. And what happens, the thing is based on a positive peer, saying that the youth respond more to other peers telling them it's inappropriate or hold them accountable. So it's based on the youth court and positive peer pressure. So that's the whole goal of the program.
Of my entire life, hands down, and you have to really take it for what it is and really appreciate it, because we're really lucky to have that in our city.
Opportunity to study law and know the handles around the courtroom. You know, I wasn't really good at speaking at first, but thanks to them, they helped me out. Yeah, so, and to the new peer counselors, I want to say, you got to take this seriously, because this is a program you cannot sit back on, lay back, and pretend like it's nothing. This program will help you succeed, and it will make you a better person, okay? Thank you.
From our break. Thank you so much for continuing to be with us. This is Las Vegas Law Talk, and I am Alexis Brown, your host, S with the mostest. Today, I'm so excited. We have Jasmine Lilly Spells with us. Jasmine is an attorney in town, has been an attorney in town, and she is running for District Court Department 23. Welcome, Jasmine.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. Such an honor to be here with Alexis and to talk about Las Vegas Law Talk. It's really an exciting time. I know that we've had a tough year, but there's a lot of exciting things going on right now. So happy to be here.
That includes your campaign. How's it going? How do you feel like things are going? I mean, we're getting so close to the election. It's only a few weeks away, really. Like, you're on the final stretch. How's it going?
The campaign has gone really well. We've gotten a lot of support from the community, not just attorneys, but a lot of different people. And that's been good because I've had an opportunity to meet new people. We are in the final stretch. Ballots went out yesterday, actually, and some people are already filling them out. But you do have until from October 17th through October 30th to vote in person. If that is what you'd like to do, that's what I will be doing. If you want to mail it in, you can also do that, or you can go in person on November 3rd. So even though you have your ballot, you don't have to fill it out today. And, you know, you can take some time to look into all of the candidates. A lot of candidates are still working and trying to connect with you. So this would be the best time, if you have a question, to reach out to their campaigns and get those questions answered.
That's right, and that's why SNALA is having our candidate forums, because we really want people to know who they're voting for. So Jasmine, we want to know who we're voting for. Who are you? Tell us all about you. Tell us all about your family and your history and everything.
Thank you so much. So I'm Jasmine Lilly Spells, and as Alexis said, I'm your candidate for District Court Department 23. I am the wife to a Navy veteran. I'm the mom of 4 children, ages 2, 6, 9, and 12. And I am an attorney. I've worked with the Clark County Public Defender's Office for the entirety of my career, over a decade. In the community, however, I do take some civil cases pro bono. So I'm currently working on a probate wills case. I've also done landlord-tenant stuff, contract disputes, things like that. I am really extremely passionate about our children. And so a lot of my community advocacy is centered around children, being a mentor to children, setting up reading programs for schools within our community so that they can have guest readers, of course, pre-COVID, and also working in partnership with community organizations to have books given to those schools for free so that kids could go home with a book of their own and backpacks, things like that. I've also served on so many of the organizational teams at our local schools, like the site organizational team. That is the team who decides budgeting for your specific school, parent-teacher task force when there's issues at schools. And so that's really what I'm passionate about. But I've also been a volunteer mediator through the Neighborhood Justice Center. And one of the things I've enjoyed most is I was a court-appointed special advocate for approximately 5 years, arguing for children who have been abused and neglected. So I love giving back to our community, but as I said, most of the things that I like to do is centered somehow in relation to our future generation of people coming up.
That's so awesome. Well, then it sounds to me like if Jasmine Lilly Spells gets on the bench, she's going to be a big fan of trial by peers. She's already a big fan of trial by peers, I know.
I am, and I am actually super interested in this blankets for the homeless. That's something that my dad sometimes does with my children. He'll grab them and make them do store runs and go to all of the elderly locations, like living environments, and pass out things. And so
No,
I was
that's
looking at that and I'm like,
that's really great. Yeah, we do that. So that's every year as part of Project Homeless Connect. We partner up with the Clark County Bar Association and we gather blankets, donated blankets. I mean, sometimes the MGM will give us blankets. You know, different organizations will just donate us a ton of blankets, and so we'll stand out there for the days of the event and hand out all the blankets we have until we have none anymore. You know what I mean? And so yeah, we do that. And then also our peer counselors have gotten together as community service projects to put together little packages of things for kids who are homeless. For I think it's Nevada Project Homeless Youth Connect, or I can't remember the exactly of the name there, but yeah. So it's so important, right? I mean, to be giving, to making sure that our kids know these things, and so that's why we do that with our peer counselors. We're making sure that they're giving back in our, not just our peer counselors, but also the defendant participants, the kids who have been in a little bit of trouble. You know what I mean? They've been in some trouble and they need to be educated, and one of those things is about giving back to our community. You know what I mean? Giving back and making sure that you see that there are other people that are potentially even less advantaged than you are, kind of things. So, well, my goodness, you are a machine. You are a complete machine, it sounds like. I mean, 4 kids in those age ranges, and attorney and volunteer and passionate about pro bono. How do you do it all?
I think it's so important, especially for women who want to be professional women, to really have a good support system, a circle of friends who, and when I say friends, here's what I want to clarify. Your friendship group should include people who are brutally honest with you and tell you when you have done something incorrectly so that you can grow as a person. But it should also be people who not only applaud your accomplishments, but who push you to do more, who inspire you to keep going. And so you need at least 2 really, really good friends and a great support system. I am so blessed to have an amazing husband. My parents moved here when my mom moved here when I was pregnant with my first child in law school, and my dad and my stepmom followed up and moved when I was pregnant with my 3rd child. So it's really been instrumental just to have some additional support system. And I know everyone doesn't have that big conglomerate of family, but if you can tap in and have parent groups or friendship groups or really good babysitting networks so that you can have some time to yourself and just a strength in numbers. I don't think that anyone can do anything by themselves. That is one of the reasons why I'm running for judges. I want to see judges on the bench who are proactive and active in our community. The judicial canons talk about judges going out and being in the community, being a source of education, but also role models, mentors. And that to me is really what public service is about. Being a judge is a role of public service, but I don't think we see a lot of our judges out in the community. Some of them, yes, and many of them in the legal communities, but we need to be in spaces where people don't know judges, don't see judges. And so that is something that I'm very passionate about and definitely will be doing, continuing to do if the voters so choose to elect me. And I am asking for your vote, by the way.
Of course you are. So you brought up a couple of good points. I mean, I like that, you mentioned, that we need that support system. I know I have seen a couple, you have a good support system. I've seen, you have some really good allies out there, that have your back and you have their back. I think, the Emerge sisters, I think, we'll call them, you know what I mean? All you gals who are really supportive of each other. I would love to take part in that Emerge program someday, you know what I mean? Just because it seems like it's a really cool program to really figure out how you want, if you want to do it and when you want to, if you want to run for office and how you can run for office and all those kinds of things. And then you guys have just developed such a crazy, amazing support system. So I love to see you all out there doing your thing. And then also the public service. You've been in public service. I mean, you've been doing public service basically your whole career, have you not?
I have. As a Chief Deputy Public Defender, we do public interest law. We defend people who can't afford to have an attorney at their own expense. And we're part of the checks and balances. Our founders decided that we would have 3-tiered government, and I'm sure all of the attorneys and legal people know that. And so it's really important to have frontline defense attorneys because we're making sure we all still have our right to privacy, that we can all be safe and secure in our homes, that we all still have our right to freedom of the speech. And so we are really very instrumental just to ensure that all 3 parts of government work within their framework. No one gets out of bounds.
Right, exactly. That's what we need good lawyers and good judges for as well, right?
Absolutely.
So, and then another point you brought up, and I think it's very near and dear to my heart as well, is sort of this idea of access to justice, right? And I think that's a little bit of what you're getting at, not just, people being defended, but also judges now going out into the community, again, access to who we are, is judging us kind of thing, and who those people are and, what they actually are bringing to the table and that kind of thing. But tell me, what is your plan to continue to help people get access to justice if you're elected to the bench?
So when I was growing up, I didn't know any attorneys. I didn't know any judges. I did have like an aunt who was kind of like a step aunt, but I didn't know her very well, who had gone to law school but was never practicing. And even that took me a long time to figure out that she had actually gone to law school. No one talked about it. And so I became interested in the law after like a family tragedy when my first cousin died, and I had to kind of start thinking about that. And so I think that if we want to have diverse group of people in the law, if our attorneys and our bench are going to reflect the environment, the society in which we live in, people have to know that it is possible for them to have any career goal that they want. And so it's very important to me really to get into communities that, maybe are more at risk or more impoverished and start talking to those children. A lot of our schools do have the law day or they have the moot court programs, but some parents still are not aware of that, especially some of our parents who are ESL, English Second Language. So it's very instrumental to me to be in those spaces and tell kids, hey, I didn't know any attorneys either, yet I still became one. I didn't grow up in, this environment where I had everything, where we had a lot of money, yet I was still able to make strides. And so I think it's just really important for people to see that. Before I went to law school, I used to do tutoring and I used to work in after school programs. It's one of the many things I did. I've had just so many different jobs and relationships. And so I want to do that. But one of the things that I really want to do is, it is really sad that sometimes you can pull a file and you can look at the charge and you can almost assume and be correct as to the race and ethnicity of the particular client. So some of these crimes are breaking down really by race and ethnicity, and sometimes pockets of, certain communities are having a problem with certain crimes and juvenile crimes as well. And so I think that I can look at that data, look at my firsthand knowledge, and really construct programs and get some people who can volunteer and get into those areas and talk to children about why they're committing that particular crime. And also letting them know, ignorance of the law is never an excuse. And we always get, I didn't know. And they think that they did something simple, and you're talking to them like, look, you're facing, up to 15 years. It's a lot of time. And so just getting some of that legal education on the front end. So maybe you think twice about your actions, right? Like, if you think, oh, that's 6 months, maybe it's not a big deal. But if you're like, ouch, I could be doing 15 years, maybe you decide not to do it.
Well, that's
one of my goals.
No, it's true. I mean, and honestly, I mean, and it's great to hear you say that again. I mean, that, that's exactly what Trial by Peers is doing. You know what I mean? So,
Yes.
I mean, we, that's what we want is, I mean, if more of our judges on the bench to be willing and wanting to, say, hey, look, you're a kid, especially for kids, I mean, you're young, or this was, let's try and do something different. Let's give you an alternative. Let's put you, in a different space, instead of, this, as we always talk about in the Law Foundation and Trial by Peers is, the school to prison pipeline. Like, we don't want any of that, you know what I mean? And so, yeah, if you as a judge are seeing that a particular community is having particularly to me, I mean, juveniles that are having, crimes and things like that, and you see an uptick in a particular community, yes, if we can all partner together and, go out there and, make sure that we're getting in there and, having those kids come to programs like ours and talking to judges like you, so that way we, are giving them the best education. And that's something we always do in the Trial by Peers court. At least I know I do as a Trial by Peers judge, court judge, is, tell them, hey, look, if you were 18 or if you were older and this happened, you could be really facing some significant fines, some significant, jail time. This is really serious stuff, and you're really lucky to be here. So, but that's what it's about, though, because as kids, and I've said this before, we're all sort of one step away, one decision away. We all make bad decisions. It's just whether or not we've been caught. We've all made our bad decisions in our life.
That's very true.
So these kids got caught, and they're learning their lessons, and we want them to learn their lessons, but still give them second chances and things like that, because we're all kids, and but maybe that little bit of hard truth that this is a real serious thing too. So I love to hear you say all of that. All right, we're going to take a break for just a minute, and we'll come back. We'll talk more with Jasmine. I'm so glad that she's here. It's wonderful to see her face. So we'll take just 1 minute for a break, and we'll get back to you in a second. See you soon.
Join me and vote for Jasmine Lilly Spells, District 23.
I'm voting for Jasmine Lilly Spells because she's very passionate about bringing diversity and fairness to the bench.
Hi, I'm voting for Jasmine Lilly Spells because I know her to be a fair individual, and I trust that she will apply the law equally.
Hi, I'm voting for Jasmine Lilly Spells for Department 23 because I know as a judge, she'll do everything in her power to make an informed decision.
Hola, yo voy a votar por mi amiga Jasmine Lilly Spells. Necesitamos a alguien con diversidad en la corte y alguien que también trabaje duro para ustedes, los contribuyentes de este estado. Gracias.
Hi, I'm Jasmine Lilly Spells. I'm your candidate for District Court Department 23. My entire career, I've worked for justice, so justice can work for you. I will do the same as your judge in District Court Department 23. I'm asking for your vote, and I thank you for your support.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to our final segment of Las Vegas Law Talk. It has been such a pleasure getting to know Jasmine Lilly Spells a little bit more. She's running for District Court Department 23. Jasmine, welcome back.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here. I'm so excited. It's been, again, it's just so lovely to see your face. So it's been great to have you back on, to have you on with us. I'm glad that we were able to do it. We had planned this forever ago, and then, all things COVID, as we, all things COVID. So why, I wanted to ask you sort of why now? Why now? Why is the time now that you wanted to run for District Court Department 23? Why Department 23? But first of all, why now? Why is now the time?
Now is the time for me to run because we really need judges on the bench who are going to be transparent and accountable. And again, judges who are committed to our communities. Being in the trenches, I'm in court almost absolutely every single day. And we have a lot of good judges. I don't want that to, be said that I don't think we have good judges. But in the same aspect, we have some judges on the bench who have never done trial work, and district court is a trial court. We have some judges on the bench who sometimes have to do criminal work, and they've never done criminal work. And so there are not any judges on the bench right now who actually come exclusively from a defense perspective. We do have some judges on the bench who have been prosecutors, some who have done both, but none who have done defense work exclusively, and none who have been really involved in capital homicides or homicide work, although that's not my specialty. Additionally, what I was finding was just some frustration. I felt like sometimes judges weren't following the rules, and I felt like I was getting decisions, and I didn't know why I was getting a decision. People who know me very well know that I am a person who is always about growth, getting better, strengthening the things that you're well at and the things that you're not so good at, growing in those areas too. And so it was frustrating to me when I would lose something and I didn't know if I should appeal it, and I didn't have a reason. It was just a ruling, but no law behind it, no reasoning. And so that frustrates me. And I think it's extremely frustrating in the civil world because people are paying. And if your attorney can't tell you, well, you do have a chance at an appeal, or you don't, because they don't know why, the decision was made, then it's just frustrating to all parties, and it can be a huge waste of money. And so I really just felt like there was a gap, and that I was the person to fill that gap.
I love to hear that. And so is this department, is it civil and criminal?
Yes, this department is a split docket right now. I don't know what it will be next year because there's so many changes that are going to happen.
Of course.
I am not 100% up to speed in civil law, but I'm really good at research. I've done some appellate work, and I do take some civil cases pro bono. I've written my own appeals, argued my own appeals, won my own appeals, and seen a case from beginning to end. We also we're in court every day. So whether it's hearings, evidentiary hearings, trial work, trial preparation, when you work in public defense, you do have a huge level of help. You have staff, but the difference is that I share my staff with 7-10 attorneys. And so it's really my job to give everyone the extreme focus. I am in charge of which way do I want my investigation to go, which, what people are actually doing. And so it's a lot more hands-on, I think, than some of the bigger firms where maybe the secretary is just yours or the investigator is just yours.
Sounds like a solo office when it's just me and the world.
Oh yeah, I've even e-filed my own things.
Sure. And that's actually really great. Because that means you're not afraid to do some of those things. You know what I mean? You're not afraid to do some of that stuff, which is great. I guess as a civil practitioner, what are you gonna do if you're faced with a civil case? You know what I mean? And what do you expect of yourself in order to make sure that we as civil practitioners know, that you're on it as well?
I'm going to be prepared, and I'm going to read everything, which should go without saying. But I'm sure that people have walked into courtrooms and they're like, did they even read my brief?
They don't.
My goodness. Right? And so that's the first thing. Number two, we've all done legal research. I was Westlaw certified in law school. I always have to research things. And I want to talk about the intersectionality of all areas of law with criminal law. Because the reality of it is, we have to look at not just the criminal aspect, but how is this going to affect the client going forward? What are the ramifications of taking a plea? Is that person going to lose housing? Is that person going to lose financial aid? Sometimes I have to look at landlord-tenant law. Sometimes I have to look at how it interacts with civil law, especially how does this interact with family law? If there's a custody or a child dispute or a child issue. And sometimes when you get, I've had cases where there's large dollars amounts stolen out of a casino, or we're dealing with banking issues or the mortgage frauds and things like that. And so we do have to branch out in these other areas and really research that field. I was a medical assistant. I didn't necessarily work in that field, but I became a medical assistant right after high school. And so I still have all of that understanding of medical terminology, things like that. So I have some of that medical background. My stepmom's a nurse practitioner and we talk about medical stuff. My dad's a carpenter. I've sat in on depositions. So I grew up in the construction field. I don't know everything, but not only do I have family and friends that I can reach out to explain some of that field aspect to me, I'm going to get a mentor. I've made it a point to talk to practitioners about who are the good judges they see and ways that they think our courtrooms can run more effectively and efficiently. So I am a person who recognizes that it's going to take some insight from practitioners and other judges to really do a good job, and that's what I'm ready to do.
That's good to hear. No, I mean, and I love all of that. And obviously you also have other, experience in the other courts. You were a CASA advocate, which is in the family court, you know what I mean? And you have to understand some of those procedures and, sometimes file motions or answer things on behalf of your client there. You're representing the child, but you're still doing things there. You just mentioned that you've done pro bono estate work, probate work, which is a different, there's different procedures there altogether. So obviously you're pretty familiar, it sounds like, at sort of, dipping your hand into a different area and sort of figuring it out so that way you can give the best result for your clients, you know what I mean, which sounds like it would translate onto the bench to me.
Yes, definitely.
That's really great. I love to hear all of that. Is there is there any reason you chose Department 23?
Department 23 became an open seat. And as you mentioned, there are a lot of my colleagues who are running this year. And so strategically, we chose not to run against each other. And there are some candidates who I truly respect. And so I didn't want to butt heads with anyone. That seat was open and unaccounted for at that time. And I like the number 23. I've appeared in Department 23 for quite some time, so I think it'll be good.
Who was in Department 23 before? Who was before you there, potentially?
Currently, Department 23 is Judge Miley, who is retiring.
Okay, nice. And who are you running against this year?
My remaining opponent, I did have a primary with 4 people, and I was able to be the front runner out of there. The remaining opponent is Carl Armstrong.
Okay, nice. And tell us why you're better. Why are you the better candidate? We have a few more minutes left, and I want to know why you are the very best candidate for Department 23.
I'm the better candidate because I have the courage, integrity, and the commitment to be a good judge, the courage to make the tough decisions, the integrity to make decisions without regard to self-interest. I'm not doing this to have, the next career step or the next career move. I'm doing this because I want to be a public servant, and I think we need good judges. Moreover, this is a trial court, and I have the most recent trial experience. My opponent has not had a client or been in a courtroom for 4 to 6 years. And I'm sure he may be able to get up to speed, but I am ready and up to speed right now as we sit here and speak. I'm a trial attorney at heart, and because I've handled a case from beginning to an end, from traffic to homicide, appellate issues, as you mentioned, CASA, other things, I really do have the skill set and the knowledge base to be a good judge. Most importantly, though, I'm going to listen to the people, and I'm going to be fair and impartial. I'm going to bring respect and dignity back to the bench so that people feel welcome in their own courtroom. It's not my courtroom, it's the public's.
That's very right. You're right. And I love, that's all incredible. How can people find you? Where can we find you out there in the world, online and all of that?
Yes, so I'm on Facebook, Jasmine Lilly Spells for District Court Judge. My other Facebook name is Lilly Spells Jazz, so it's backwards. And you can find me on my website, www.lilly-spells.com. All of my contact information is on there. If you want to reach out to me personally, my cell phone is 907-5565.
Look, she's even going to give you her personal cell phone number. We can literally get a hold of her directly.
You can.
And remind our viewers again when early voting is and all of that. You're up on it. Tell our viewers when they can vote for you if they want to vote for you.
Ballots were mailed out yesterday. I don't have mine, so don't fear if you don't have yours. They're going to be mailed out cyclically. However, early voting is October 17th through October 30th. You can vote in person. After that, you can vote in person on November 3rd. There will be multiple polling locations. Lines should not be long. Show up in person. If you are going to mail it, it must be mailed and postmarked by November 3rd. I would recommend doing a drop box instead of sending it through the mail, but you have plenty of choices. No matter what you do, just vote. Vote all the way down ballot and start at the bottom if you'd like to do that, because you already know who's at the top.
That's right, yes. And please, everyone, go out and vote. I do not care who you vote for. I really don't. Well, I mean, I do, but.
We want your voice to be heard,
yes,
even if it's for people who we're not voting for. Just vote.
Yes, no, and that's exactly right. You know what I mean? The thing about it is that if you don't vote, you really can't complain, right? And if you do vote, at least you have a right to complain about things. So you get out there and vote. And these local elections, in my personal opinion, yes, we have the presidential election this year. Yes, that is incredibly important. The Senate elections are incredibly important. But
Yes.
we live in Las Vegas. I live in Las Vegas. Las Vegas is my hometown. I grew up here. What happens in our courts here is so important, because this is what is happening to our citizens, to our children, to our family members, more so than almost anything else, because if our judges are not good on the bench, then you're not going to be getting good decisions. You're not going to be getting, things, favorable, equal decisions, that are actually supportive of our local community here. So, Jasmine, thank you again so much for coming on, and I enjoyed very much our time here today. Please, everyone, go to the Clark County Law Foundation's Facebook, go to SNAWA's Facebook. You can check out all the candidate videos. Jasmine Lilly Spells will be on the next one on the 15th with us. So I'm very excited about that. You can check her out again, ask her some questions if you want to in the chat box there, and then also hear from her opponent if he shows. I don't know if he's registered, but if he's there, you'll hear from him as well, and then several of the departments. And those videos will be up on SNAWA's Facebook and all of that. So thank you everyone for being back with me. Election is coming, go vote. Thank you for being with Las Vegas Law Talk, and we will be back again. See you guys.